Hi everybody, DJ Yoakley again, and yes, on video again, but yes, look at this beautiful home here in the Foster House in East Palestine. Tony Foster, Coach's Corner, brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. Coach, week 2, as we turn the page, not quite yet. Let's talk about week 1, Valley Christian, a tough loss, but one that you were able to take some things away from.
Yeah, we had some things that were positive. Obviously, we had a lot of things that we needed to work on, but some of the things we took away was defensively. We had a couple different times where our defense was put in a bad situation, and they stepped up and did some real good things. Sudden change. They came back and forced a couple 3-and-outs, which was nice to see, and it really it showed that, I mean, the fight that the kids had in them, and even though things had gone pretty bad, pretty poorly in the first quarter, this was in the third quarter and at different points after the first. And, they still rallied and hung together, and they had a lot of fight left in them. So I was glad to see that. So
when you look at the difference between the end of last year and the beginning of this one, I mean, it looks like there was a little bit more spark, a little bit more fight in the Bulldogs this year?
Yeah, and I think I even told this to the kids. I said that there were times during that game when if those things hadn't happened last year, the wheels would have completely fallen off the wagon, and we'd be able to see the body language. I didn't see that this year. I didn't see that in week 1. So, those are good things to help us move forward with. But, ultimately, that's not how we wanted week 1 to go. And there's a lot of different things that we've worked on this week and worked on improving.
Things that you're not going to see in the kind of line score from week 1. What things were you impressed with your team, with your coaching staff?
Again, I think that our game plan was solid. I don't know if that sounds kind of dumb.
Cliche, right?
Sounds kind of dumb though, because I mean the end result was we didn't win.
Right.
But it is cliched because ultimately any offensive play that gets called, if executed properly, is successful.
Yep.
And any defensive play is if executed properly, is going to be designed to stop an offense. I used to work with coaches that used to like to play the who's got the marker last game, and it's you can stop anything with the defense as long as you have the marker to last, or your offense can beat any defense as long as you have the marker last. And to me, that's a stupid game to play. But going through film, we're able to point out different things. Sorry, I shook the table.
Stop shaking the table.
I apologize. There are different things that we pointed out that, just minor details of, we're blocking the kick-out guy, or we are maybe 2 steps wide of where the hole really is. And, we can see it there, but we're just not quite executing properly.
So there was a lot of up and down the roller coaster. We talked about COVID in week 1, Coach's Corner. When the ball was finally teed up on Saturday night, what was going through your head from a standpoint of, I mean, did you feel like a little bit of normalcy come back in life, that we were actually going to play football? I mean, up to that point, there was a lot of questions.
There was a little bit of relief, just that, I was very concerned that these senior kids and the players in general, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and the time that you have to play this game, especially football, is so limited. And it goes by so quickly that the threat and the uncertainty of whether or not this season was going to be here I did feel a little bit of a relief that, you know what, these guys are going to get somewhat of a season. Hopefully it's a full season, but if not, at least they get one game in. You know, so that's what they fought for, and they've been working, you know, since, you know, hitting the weight room and starting in November, and going year round. So you know, I was glad to see that they get this opportunity. Right
before you guys kind of took the field, obviously minimum fans. You know, it's a different feeling. It's an eerie feeling that I've seen it in the places we've been. What was it like for you to walk out of that locker room and see kind of 15% of capacity crowd at that point?
You know, it's almost like you're running some pregame. There's not much change from your pregame stuff to the game time, because there's not a whole lot of difference in the amount of fans.
Yeah.
You know, so it's awkward, and it's eerie at times, and you know, sometimes you can hear individuals a lot better, whereas in a crowd and with a band playing, you maybe don't hear them as distinctly.
I was going to say, do you find yourself lowering your voice a little bit when you're calling out or talking to your guys or instructing them how to do? Because I mean, from the announcer's booth, we could hear. We took off our headsets and we could hear literally everything that was on the sideline that was closest to us.
I don't know that I made a conscious effort to change how I do it. I know there were times where I had to address the language of my players, and I number one, I apologize to the fans that overheard some of the language that was being used. And
did you just speak in a regular tone to them because they could hear you?
Well, sometimes I find that the angry whisper is more effective.
Okay.
And
what's that sound like? Can we get an example?
I don't know that you want to do that right now. You better knock it off. Yeah, that has definitely been addressed and emphasized and emphasized again and again.
Home opener here tonight, if you're watching on Friday. A team that you're very familiar with in the Columbiana Clippers. Senior night for the Bulldogs, so you'll shine your seniors once again. Festivities kicking off about 6:25. We'll have all of that on YSN. Firstly, talk about the senior class and what they mean to you and what they mean to the program.
The senior class it's a nice group of guys that a lot of them are just they're football nuts. I mean, they're football junkies. They love football, and a lot of them it's their only sport. And you know, I encourage these guys to play multiple sports and do different things and just be competitive and be a kid and have fun. But a lot of them, I mean, I hate to say it, some of them they're just not good at basketball or they're not good at baseball, but they enjoy football and they're good at football, and that's kind of their passion. So I've spent a lot of time with them, and it's been nice.
What's a word that describes the class of 2021 in this senior class from your coach's perspective?
They are persistent. I mean, they keep coming back. They keep working at it. They've put the time in. The same group of guys that keep showing up have been showing up all the time. And you know, we've had our ups and downs. I mean, there's been some of them that we've butted heads, and you know, I told the one, I said, to your credit, we've butted heads a lot, and you keep coming back. You know, so they're persistent, and you know, there's just a lot of when you have that core group that just is at every function for the last 4 years. You know, you build a lot of rapport with them, and the relationship you get to build with those kids is special.
This is a team that's looking to beat Columbiana for the second time in their tenure, right? They beat them their freshman year, if I believe.
I believe so.
So this would be if you come out victorious tomorrow night, be the second time in their tenure, trying to just go 500 against the Clippers, which out of 23-24 games on the network on Friday night, this is one of the few actual rivalry games in week 2. And this is a game that a lot of people are going to remember from this time last year, maybe a little later in the season last year, being week 10, that you've put a lot of emphasis on around the locker room in the offseason, obviously as you guys work into the season. What does this game mean to you from a coaching perspective, and what do you think it means from a player perspective?
Well, yeah, it's a rivalry game that, having that be the last game of the season, that was the lasting taste in our mouth from last year, and it's something that obviously we want to come back and sort of the mantra which we talked about last week is mentality. What is your mentality? How are you going to bounce back from a situation like that from last year, week 10? So how are you going to respond to that, and how are you going to be viewed? Are you going to be viewed as the team that just lets that happen, or are you going to be the team that has this resilient mentality and this fighter mentality, and you're able to bounce back and really claw and scratch and show what kind of fight you have in you?
Has this week in practice been any different, knowing what they went through last year, to leave it on the field in week 10, and like you said, that taste in their mouth? Have you seen it? I mean, Ohio State, Michigan, there's an uptick in practice. People feel it, practice a little bit hard. Did you feel the difference between week 1 and week 2 going into the Columbiana game?
This has been the best week of practice we've had in a while. So it was nice, and I think since it's a rivalry week, that's something to it.
All right, we're getting off the field. It's fun time with the return of story time with Uncle Pony, my favorite time of the broadcast. Coach,
all right.
Let's get a good story for the folks at home from Uncle Pony.
You're just gonna leave it blank like that? I got. Oh, jeez.
The floor is yours, my friend. You had all kinds of them out there.
It's too wide open. It's too wide open. I think I would like to turn this back on you. And what's one of your favorite stories?
Oh, I mean, my favorite story is naturally the Steelers story, if you'd like to share that one. Now, keep in mind, we got to keep it clean a little bit, but it is my favorite story by far that Uncle Pony tells. Can't tell the girls yet, though. We got to keep that a couple ice cream seasons.
Okay, all right. Well, the story goes. This is not my original story. This comes from my defensive coordinator and position coach in college, John Banaszak, and Banny, as we called him. He played for the Steelers, has 3 Super Bowl rings with them, and we used to enjoy story time with him. And whenever there was some downtime, he would tell some pretty crazy stories about his time with the Steelers. And one of the favorites was they had a week off. It was their bye week, so they get back into Pittsburgh from an away trip, and he's talking about going hunting. He was going to go deer hunting, and he had a farmer down in Greene County, Pennsylvania, that he knew of that had a nice farm, was going to let him go and hunt. And he was talking about it with the guys, and Jack Lambert, being the big outdoorsman that he is, he overhears Banny, and he says, "Hey, Banny, you care if I go?" And Banny's like, "I don't really wanted you to go, but all right, well, we can go." So they're leaving at like 4 a.m. to drive down to Greene County, and when they get there, Banny says he's going to go and tell the farmer that they're there. They pull up early in the morning, and he sees the lights on in the house, so he goes in and the farmer says, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you." He wants to know if he can hunt. And he said, "Yeah, sure, anytime. But hey, could you do me a favor?" He said, "I've got this old horse out here that I've had her for ages. She's on her last leg, and if you could do me a favor and put her down, I would appreciate it. And you and Jack, you can go hunt, and that's no problem. Just put her down before you guys go out." And he said, "You know what? Absolutely. You let me hunt here all the time. I'll do that favor for you." So he's heading back to the car to tell Jack that the farmer knows we're here and we can hunt. But he decides on the way back he's going to pull a little trick on Jack. And he said, "You know what? I want to tell him that he's not going to let us hunt." So they get out and he's acting all upset, and Jack gets out of the truck and he said, "What's wrong, Benny?" He said, "Dang it, we came all the way down here, and this farmer, he's not going to let us hunt. I can't believe this. I'm so upset." He said, "Well, where are you going?" "Well, I'm so upset. I'm walking right up here in this pasture, and I'm going to shoot his horse." And so he's looking at Jack, and Jack's a little startled. And, they keep walking up. They go into the pasture, and they're stomping through. And so Banny gets up to this horse, and he pulls up to shoot on the horse, and he hears boom, boom. He looks over, and Jack, he goes, "What'd you just do?" Jack said, "I'm so upset. I just shot 2 of his cows." So that hunting trip, they ended up paying for buying 2 cows off the farmer because he pulled a trick on Jack, and Jack ended up shooting 2 of the farmer's cows.
Oh my gosh, that is my favorite story. I love it. That's actually what started story time with Uncle Pody. And usually it's not on broadcast, but I'm shaking the table now. But usually, I mean, that's my favorite story. So you got a week, come up with another great story. You've got a zillion of them. So, but Coach, obviously, we wish you the best during this week. Getting back into it with the Clippers. I mean, it's going to be a big one. It's you win and all is forgiven. You know what I mean? One of those things where there's a chance for the seniors at least to redeem themselves from last year. Do you feel that kind of same nature for the program? If you can walk away with whether it be a 1-point win or an 83-point win?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, I want the guys to come out and compete and do well and win. So there is no such thing as a moral victory in rivalries. It's if you lose by 1 or if you lose by 20, it's still a loss, and you still lost to your rival. So we want to come out and play well, and we want to get the dub.
One key to the game on offense?
Ball security and ball control.
That's 2, but okay.
I'm an overachiever.
Key to the game on defense. And not ball security, ball control.
Well, on defense, you call it turnovers. So we'll try to get turnovers. But no, they run an option. It is disciplined responsibility football. So whoever is responsible for the dive back has to tackle the dive back all the time, and whoever is responsible for the quarterback has to tackle the quarterback, and the pitch has the pitch. And every time, whether they have the ball or not, they are responsible for those people. So, because the first time that the kid that's responsible for the quarterback gets nosy on the dive and they're running veer at him, the quarterback's scampering down the field for a big touchdown. So it's all about responsibility football.
Coach, thank you so much. First for showcasing your home, letting me in the door. I even got fed. Like this is East Palestine hospitality at its finest. I give all the credit to Amy, of course.
Well, I've learned my lesson. I got to lock my door a little quicker before you can sneak in. But no, always a pleasure. I always enjoy being on YSN and visiting with you.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Go Bulldogs.